Well, in about late '88, me and Jimmy Bauer, who I play with in Down right now, kind of came up with the whole concept for Crowbar.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Bauer III, the originator with me of Crowbar. Jim?
I met Kirk when he was in this band called Victorian Blitz, and I played in this band Shell Shock, and he got in the band. Make a long story short, he got in the band, and me and Kirk clicked. And first night that I actually really
don't go there.
Okay, never mind.
Me and you basically, creating or coming up with the concept of what Crowbar is.
Yeah, well, we had been in that band Aftershock together and all that, and that was kind of like dissipating or whatever, just kind of falling apart. And me and Kirk me and you were totally into like, we were all in, like you said, the Melvins and Carnivore and stuff like that, and it was right in the time where if you didn't play fast, nobody was really into it.
Right.
So we took those two influences and combined them together, and it was really cool because it was so fresh. It was like so different from what both me and Kirk had ever done.
A local band called Excerpt, which is a fantastic thrash, speed metal, like in the vein of Slayer or something, tight band, and they were, the kings of the New Orleans scene, and they ripped. I mean, it's great stuff. And me and Jimmy kind of looked at each other. I'm like, dude, I can't fucking play like that, So we kind of intentionally went the whole opposite direction, and the stuff we were listening to, the Sabbath and the Melvins and stuff like that, was kind of low tuned, but we kind of did it as a joke even, and tuned the guitar all the way down to B, which back in 1988 was kind of unheard of. So that kind of helped create, the sound that we do. Like, our thing was tune low, play slow, because everybody else was playing 100 miles an hour way up on the fretboard. So we tuned the fucking thing as low as it would go and just, just kind of try to do the opposite, just to kind of basically stand out. My influences on Crowbar, like the Melvins and Carnivore and Black Sabbath and whatnot, but I rarely listen to that. I listen to pop music and, like Sade is one of my favorites, and Seal, and just, a lot of classic 70s rock, a lot of the mellow stuff. It's a bigger influence to me, even though you can't hear it in the Crowbar sound at all, because Crowbar is loud, heavy, doomy, whatever. But to me, in my head, I hear it, and it's a bigger influence than most of the heavy stuff is to me. I told myself a long time ago, you can't learn how to write good songs and how to sing or listen to death metal or whatever, although I'm a fan of that style of music. If you want to write a good song, you better listen to something more melodic.
Yeah, basically there's three elements, to the Crowbar is that tune low, play slow, and the acknowledgement of the melodies in 70s love songs. Me and Kirk we're always been into the 70s love songs.
Together.
Totally. On tour, everything.
Take another pill, dude. You're itching your nuts off.
Original band, actually it was a three-piece for a bit. Me and Jim Bauer started it, and Jimmy had left and moved to Atlanta for a couple of years, and I got Craig Nunemacher, who plays in Black Label Society with Zakk Wylde now, to come in on drums, and he played on the first 3 full-length records and an EP that we put on, a live EP. And then Jim came back into the fold. It was kind of like, we've always had a revolving door of guys. It's always been friends. The beginning was Big T, for the old fans will know. Big, like 400-pound guy on bass, myself on guitar and vocals. Kevin Noonan was on guitar, and Craig was on drums. And Kevin left, we got Matt Thomas in, and I can't even remember all the guys, honestly. But it's kind of been a revolving door, and a lot of the guys have been in and out. It's never, like I've always told, people have asked, in interviews or whatever, I'm like, we've had like 20 fucking dudes in the band, but I've never kicked anyone out of Crowbar. They left because, they wanted to pursue something else or go play in a different band or whatever. And it ain't easy doing it at the level we do it. We don't make a lot of cake. You got to struggle. It's hard, and everybody's not cut out for it. But no one's ever been kicked out like, this guy sucks or he's a dick or whatever. Nothing like that ever happened. We just simply like people would come to a certain point in their life and go, you know what, I don't know if I can dedicate myself to this any longer, so I'm gonna tell Kirk, bye, and give him a hug and a kiss and say good luck. And 2 years from now, if we missing a drummer or something, you want to come back in, it's cool. Jimmy Fallon's been in and out of the band 20 fucking times. And I play with him and down, I talk to him every day. He's one of my best buds. But if he feels like he's at a point in his life where he can't handle the load of being a full-time committed drummer to Crowbar, then he goes, and that's fine. And somebody else comes in, and if the guy that came in, the guy that comes in, if he don't quit, Jimmy ain't coming back. But if the guy leaves, I'll call Jim, come on back, dude. It's cool. I mean, a lot of people have made a lot of pretty cool comments over the years about the New Orleans scene. We're the exact opposite of like the LA, Hollywood, the old thing, old 70s, 80s. There's no competition. Nobody's in fucking competition here. We're all trying to play music because we love it. And New Orleans, for whatever reason, we've all embraced each other in our own little circle of friends and a brotherhood that we like to call it. And it's respect for each other, and we do, we'll do whatever we can to help out each other. And I think there are other scenes like the East Coast, New York scene and all that, with the hardcore bands that do the same thing. But in general, I think that's something that's missing from the whole music world. I mean, think about it. I think it's a key changer. Our first record came out in 91 or 92. It was called Obedience Through Suffering. We followed that up with Crowbar. We had a live EP called Live Plus One. We did Time Heals Nothing, Broken Glass, Oddfellows Rest, Equilibrium, Sonic Excess in its purest form, and the latest one we did was entitled Life's Blood for the Downtrodden. I never auditioned anybody. I mean, the lineup we have now, I called Tommy, I called Pat, I called Steve. You want the gig? Sure, I want it. You're in. We're practicing next Tuesday. Click.
2004 is when I joined. We used to hang out in Pat's Pub in Fat City, a place we call Fat City, here in town. And Pat finally called me up one day and said, "Hey man, would you like to play bass?" I said, "Fuck, what you asked me 6 years ago?"
And shit, me and Kirk's been friends for probably about 19, 20 years now. And I actually met him through some other friends of a band that I was in at the time. And yeah, he got Pat to call me. He got Pat to call me up, and Pat and I asked me, we were just kind of kicking around, joking around, but Pat was like, "Hey man, you want to come jam with the old man with Crowbar or what?" And I was like, "Man," I said, "For sure, I said, "I think that's a killer idea." I said, basically, if Kirk would have asked me probably 5 to 10 years ago, I would have said, yeah, 5 or 10 years ago. And he would have never had to go through all these crazy drummers.
I believe I was in New Orleans visiting Kirk, and he had expressed an interest in me joining the band. My initial reaction, I think, was, well, do you want me to audition, or, what's the deal, And he's like, "No, fool, you're in the fucking band."